Michael Osiago, popularly known as MOG the Poet, to artistry.
I think one of the major reasons why I myself and most other spoken word artists out there,
Please speak out.
one of the major reasons we are in this genre
Mm.
is the freedom we have compared to other genre of art to actually express ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
So talking about expressing yourself now, because I tend to understand that most of this poets writer. Okay, so we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the interview with Michael Osiago. Welcome back. So, sorry for the little technical issues. Back to you, Michael Osiago. Okay, because of course I didn't hear you when you said the reason why you chose spoken word artistry. So, retract that.
Okay. So one of the best things that has happened to me as a person is the genre of spoken word poetry.
Okay.
Reason being that it's a nervous one to express yourself while hiding in plain sight.
Really?
Yeah. When we say hiding in plain sight, you know, there is censorship of what one can say per time, and every country has their boundaries
Okay.
towards their artists, music-wise,
Could say and
comedy-wise,
what not
can
to say.
say, and all that. But then, for us in the art space, especially in literary space, you can comfortably say things, hide them in a plain walk. People listen to what you say, but it takes time to digest and break down and unveil those hidden meanings in words.
Okay, so talking about expression, right?
Yeah.
Because personally, most times I feel like they overshare.
Overshare.
Let me explain why I said so. Because some of these people, most of the poem is like it has to do with emotions,
Okay.
what you've actually passed through.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
In as much as we know that people must have experienced that. And you as a spoken word artist, you just feel like you want to share, right?
Yeah.
You want to express yourself. You want people to like hear you and understand. I feel like most times they overshare personal issues, personal talk, because I watched a video
Okay.
and it's all this open mic kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the person picked up the mic and she was talking about relationship and what she has passed through. Okay.
Yeah.
So, would you say, because it talks about expression,
Yeah.
would you say that when they come to express themselves, they bring in their ultimate best, even what they've actually gone through, private life and all that?
Now, one other thing that's important to give a concept to what you've just asked is this. Spoken word poets try as much as possible, especially those that are very professional in what they do,
Okay.
to embody characters.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes you would see someone express something so passionately, and you think that this person has gone through such situations, but sometimes it's far from truth or far from reality.
Okay.
So the ability to embody characters
Yeah.
is one unique thing in spoken word poetry. So I can, for one, go through your environment or go through the everyday environment,
Yeah.
and you see an angle that many people are not seeing, and then you just stay and absorb that reality. It can take you a while. You can just pause, look at this thing. People are not looking at it. People are not seeing this,
Yeah.
and you absorb this reality so much so that when you talk about it, someone feels that
It resonates with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I'm so into this spoken word kind of thing, do you get?
Yeah,
So
that's good.
what I want to ask now, do they get inspiration? Like, how do they get their inspiration? Because you just said, apart from them looking around the environment and you come to think, you come to like do your analysis in your brain, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question now, do they, apart from getting inspiration, do they go ahead to research?
Yeah. Now, what makes most of the poems or poetry works live over the years is that ambience or that stimulation one has with reality. Okay, to give context, I would say, apart from research, spoken word poets go through some trainings which sometimes is called strategic foresighting.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Okay, strategic foresighting is of profession, per
Yeah.
se, where one can look at something that has happened before, look at something that is happening now, and you tell categorically what will happen in the
Tomorrow.
future. It's just like soothsayers, people who can see the future. Yes. So that's one of the things in area where people can call it research,
Okay.
but more relatable term one would say is strategic foresighting, where you can categorically connect the dots and you make a statement that 10 years, 20 years, 50 years to come,
People can still
resonate with it.
Yeah.
For example, I can say one of the works that has lived time and time again is Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart.
Okay.
Yeah. Every single time people revisit that work, it's just as if it's new.
Okay.
It's as if he is currently living in our time and writing those pieces.
Yeah.
So that's the power of strategic foresighting,
Okay.
where you are looking at the reality right now. This is the things that are happening in my time. These things that are happening, what are the incidents
That could happen tomorrow.
that had brought these particular things that are happening now? Now, putting the ones that have happened before and what is happening now, you can categorically predict tomorrow. And when you pen down words with these insights, 100 years to come, people would look at your work and would be like,
Wow.
wow.
Okay, so can I also call spoken word artists, because it's an artwork, it's a craft,
Yeah.
right? Can I also call them philanthropists? Did they go through philosophy courses?
Philanthropists, and going through philosophy classes are two different things.
Okay.
Yeah. But what spoken word poets eventually go through are two different areas. The first area is mastery of words. Yeah, for you to be a spoken word poet, you need to understand language. Yeah, so the part of understanding language is where a spoken word poet can say something that ought to have put him or her in crisis,
Okay.
but they would say it so free and seamlessly,
Okay.
communicating the same meaning, and hence would not go through such situations. That's one of the things spoken word poets go through. Okay. Now, the other skill set that is needed for spoken word poetry is media literacy.
Okay.
Yeah, because so when we are talking about media literacy, we are now looking at your perception to control the narrative. Because as a spoken word poet, you are in term to say one can call you an advocate,
Yeah.
a human rights advocate. You're becoming a voice for those who are passing
speak for
through
people.
situations to
Yeah.
actually communicate. Now, if you don't understand media literacy, we can connect it to what people can really connect to, like the VDM movement that's
Okay.
currently happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one can say something like the young man who has embodied the VDM character now that everybody's following.
Yeah.
He can actually say something, but if he doesn't have the concept or conceptual grasp of media literacy, most of the things he would say would put him into trouble.
Trouble. True.
Yeah, but when you understand the fact or the dynamics or the elements of media literacy, it helps you say things that is hard to crack, but you say it seamlessly that people accept this bitter truth
Okay.
and also share your point of view without hanging you for saying those things.
Yeah.
Because in our society, there are things you would say you put yourself into
Into
trouble.
trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you think that spoken word is as powerful as activists speaking for Nigerians?
Art form in its entirety is advocacy.
Okay.
Now, niched down to spoken words poetry, this is an art form that is representing advocacy in one's particular unit.
Okay.
So it can also fly as advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, doing it calls for some peculiar skills. Yeah. Doing it calls for some peculiar skills. That's why spoken words poetry is so unique and hard to get into. Yeah. You can easily do music.
Okay.
Yeah. You can easily do music.
You can easily do acting.
You can easily do acting. You can easily do comedy. But when you are narrowing down now to spoken words poetry or many of these literary works, the requirement becomes higher
For you.
for you as an individual.
Okay. So, like, do you think there's risk to this spoken word artist, especially when it comes to talking about Nigerians? Why are you laughing?
Yeah. Life is filled with risk.
Okay.
Now, there's a saying that has been going around that's now even a cliche in our contemporary Nigeria, where you say you die. If you don't say it,
You still die.
you still die.
Okay.
Yeah. But a unique skill that spoken word poets do have that has given them this power, per se, to express themselves without putting themselves into trouble is the skill of critical thinking and word mastery. Yeah. Word mastery comes to play where you say something, especially word mastery in this term, I'm talking about language, understanding language. Now, people because we're in the third world settlement, there are things one would say you might think it's for its literal meaning, but it actually means a different thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So when a spoken word poet understands and masters the craft of language, he can comfortably take you through a lot of things. You on the open end would enjoy it,
Yeah.
but the people who get the meaning are those who would sit down
And think.
and think.
Okay.
And it happens even in comedy. There are some comedians that are good in these skills too, where they would say something today and you start seeing the meaning of this
Tomorrow.
comedy 10 years, 5
After.
years after. So
Yeah.
that's what saves most of the spoken word poets from getting themselves into trouble.
Into trouble.
And one clear example one can always relate to this is a book written by George Orwell,
Okay.
The Animal Farm.
Okay.
Yeah, when you go through the book, it talks about a particular government and all the bureaucracies
Okay.
that comes with that era. Now, not to dive into specifics, he decided to use animal figures
To explain.
to express this point of view
Yeah.
than using human beings.
Okay.
So that's why if you come to spoken word gathering where you have open mics, you see people using figures of speeches
to talk.
to talk. Yes, so they will talk about the sun, talk about
The
the
moon.
moon and all that and all that.
Okay, so talking about you now and open words,
spoken word.
words, what genre are you particularly into? Are you into relationships? Are you into activism? What genre are you basically on?
From my background, where I am coming from, it's natural that I'm more of an activist in spoken word poetry.
So why are you talking about VDM like that?
No, when you relate to some of this genre, it really doesn't matter which part you niched down to, right? But as long as you are in the industry, you really understand that everyone is just going in cycles. We are talking about the same thing, but from different angles. So, so activism is what I do, and sometimes you do touch here and touch there, but because of where I am coming from, it's just natural that activism became the part that I speak more of.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you do a freestyle for us?
Yeah, eventually, that's it's tradition.
All right, so I'm all ears.
I love the man goes, but not the story of how man goes. So before you turn a blind eye to that bad road, bad leadership, bad branding, bad packaging, bad business, just remember, say, if this quest to leave home to feed home, no finally feed home, if this career no put food on the table plus an extra change for a summer vacation, if this business no succeed, if this country doesn't succeed, if this hustle no pay, evidence no day. So we even try our best. We go explain to the next generation city we serve go tire. So bro, no grief for anybody. Like Wabale, Kwichiri. Bro, then say who get money no they do eye service. Who naked no they shoe can for pocket. Now every man know why him no they sell a sam. Bro. Then say this country and shaggy now 5 and 6. All eyes done red, no cap, but it choke. So drop mic, drop dead. The only condition for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. I said drop mic, drop dead. The only condition for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. So the rising and falling of empires, the making and breaking of dynasties has always rested on the shoulders of men, not gods. The J.P. Morgans, we are men, not gods. The Andrew Carnegies, we are men, not gods. The John D. Rockefellas, we are men, not God. The Nnamdi Azikiwes, we are men, not gods. For men would work, men would fight. For gods too would curse and gods will bless. But Those who would stand, dominate, and take over kingdoms would always be men, not gods. I mean, those who would stand to dominate sectors, take over kingdoms, and rule even nations would always be men,
Not
not gods.
gods. Okay, so you just showed us the activism part of it, but explain that particular spoken word because I like the melody you actually put into it. Okay, so explain the spoken word to us.
Okay, so the concept of this spoken word poem is coming from the angle where, as religious people, most Nigerians are religious per se. We believe that somewhere, somehow,
Okay.
a supernatural being would come to our aid.
Yeah, which is God now.
Now, this can be taken for even those that are not Christians, those
Okay.
that are per se the Muslims, the traditionalists, and all that. Most Nigerians or most Africans believe that a supernatural being would come to their aid. Hence, they moved their responsibilities to complaining that God go run am, do your best, leave the rest for God.
Yeah.
But in reality, those who have actually made things happen had always been men,
And not God.
not gods.
That was a wonderful one.
Yeah.
An interesting one. Okay, so I have some few games to play with you before I ask you one more last question. We'll play Riddle. Why are you looking at me like that?
Riddle. Ha ha. This is interesting.
Okay, so what kind of band never plays music?
What kind of bands never play
Music.
This is interesting. Help me out with this one. Then.
Okay, the answer is rubber band. You didn't see that coming, right? So rubber band
God.
does not play music, but it is a band.
That's crazy. That's
Okay, so let me ask you the second one. What has many teeth but can't bite?
what has many teeth.
But can't bite.
You've kept me on the spotlight this afternoon, and this is not helping matters.
Sorry, just think.
This is not helping
Think
matters.
critically.
Riddles is not critical thinking. It's a crazy kind of thinking because sometimes most of the things you are asked are just
Just
things you.
think. And it's very simple.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about riddles.
So should I help you?
What else? Okay.
A comb. A comb has so many teeth, but it can never ever bite.
Don't say this lineage.
That's 0/50.
Ah, swear. This,
Should I ask
this
another
is, no,
one?
No, I'm not going again.
You don't want to play
I
another
don't
one?
want to play again. This is.
Okay, but let me ask you the last one. It's also simple.
Oh God. Okay.
Yes, now God will help you.
I swear. Now I need to depend on a supernatural being.
What question can you never say yes to?
What question?
Can you never answer yes to? Going.
There's always this. There's always this Nigerian question. Ah, God.
Should I ask? Should I help you?
I think it's what's in my head. Are you mad? No, that cannot be it.
Okay, so I should help you.
Help me again.
Are you asleep? Are you asleep yet? If you're sleeping, you cannot answer. So if you answer yes, that means you are awake. You are not sleeping.
True.
So you failed my riddles.
swear. This is crazy.
Okay, let's do social media abbreviation. Because, of course, you're into social media, right?
God, this is hot. This is me on a hot seat.
It's simple. It's just that,
Okay.
you know.
Abbreviations.
Yeah,
I'm
social
not,
media
I'm not.
abbreviations.
I'm not a fan of abbreviating words.
I'll give you simple
So
ones.
let's go.
HMU.
H
What's the full meaning of HMU?
HMU. Not a fan of abbreviation.
Oh my God. Hits me up.
Okay.
You're failing on my games.
This is
Okay, let me give you a simple one. AKA, full meaning of AKA.
also known as.
Say it with confidence.
Also known as.
Also known as correct. High five.
Okay.
Okay, so another one. FAQ.
FAQ. Oh God, this is
Frequently asked question. So you got 1 over 100.
that's crazy.
No, 10 over 100.
That's crazy. That's
Sorry.
crazy.
Anyways, thank you so much for,
I need
for
to get
joining.
I need to get more in touch with reality.
You're doing more of activism and spoken
I
words, that's why.
I swear. I need to.
Okay, thank you so much, Michael, for joining me on set today. I had so much fun. I enjoy your spoken word,
Thank you very much.
honestly.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so this is where we draw the curtain. The show is a wrap for today. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. And join us same time tomorrow. Signature TV. I remain your baby girl, Queenette Nwokonta. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
our mainstay was to export crude oil, and east still to export crude oil. But we reserve a certain proportion of those crude oil that we are drilling for local consumption. So we refined, used locally, and we're able to sell to our neighbors, Benin Republic, as far as Togo, Cameroon, and Chad, Niger, and all those places. Now, when the government now failed, when our refineries died and government failed to produce, governments now said, okay, we will now go outside the country, produce. That is the most idiotic economics I've ever seen in the entire life. Where you carry crude oil from your land, you have refineries, you have technology have even provided what's called modular refineries. You have not made it conducive for people to bring refinery. You take your crude oil outside for local consumption outside the country. You pay dollars to do that, in dollars. You now refine it paying in dollars. You now bring it back using dollars, and then you are selling in naira. Therefore, the differentials in the financial outlay was too much. So the government asked, okay, we'll subsidize. You know, that is one of the craziest things that happened to us. We subsidize because of their inability. Meanwhile, people every day, we see the Nigerian military, joint task force, going to Niger Delta, saying that burning down illegal refineries. What does that suggest to you? It suggests to you that the technology of refining crude oil is simple. If people can do it in the creeks in their backyard, if people can do it back of their kitchen, during the Biafra war, there were mobile refineries where were moving it and producing fuel for their armory, for their vehicles and everything. So it's not rocket science to refine oil. So why is Nigeria not refining oil?
Hello, and welcome to Uncommon Conversations on Signature Television. We are reaching you from our studios in ENUGU, the Coast City States. Of course, ENUGU is the capital of Southeast Nigeria. Last week, the Supreme Court of Nigeria made a landmark judgment in which it made certain pronouncements that would appear to have given autonomy to local government councils in Nigeria. The Supreme Court in that ruling directed or affirmed that all funds going to local governments should no longer go through the Joint Allocation Committee of the states, but should be paid directly to the council accounts of elected councils throughout Nigeria. That would mean if a state government is running a caretaker committee, such a state government, such local governments are unqualified to receive allocation from the federation account. The ruling also affirmed that governors do not have a right at all to dissolve elected councils. that would also imply that caretaker committees, which about 22 states in Nigeria are running, the Supreme Court says it is illegal and they should no longer be operated as such. Nigerians have been reacting. Nigerians have been responding. And Nigerians have been making comments on this judgment. There are two divides. One are those obviously led by James Ibori, former governor of Delta State, who affirmed that that ruling violates certain sections of the Constitution. And of course, Michael Zekome, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, leads the other pack that said the Supreme Court had made a policy decision and that Nigeria should welcome it. It is the only way to restore the dignity of the local government system. On whichever divide you are, Nigerians are clamoring that the local government system should be allowed to breathe. It's like they're being choked by the governors. And so this evening, we are here to do what? To have a look. To have a look at the local government autonomy. How could it be constitutionally redirected? What can we do to ensure that that autonomy, as foreseen by the Supreme Court, is made legitimate? I've been joined in the studio by no less a person than Chief Okeze Nwanjoko, an Enugu-based attorney, a former local government chairman. Chief Nwanjoko, welcome to Common Conversations.
Good, thank you, Dr. Siranoke. Good evening, our global audience. My pleasure to be here this evening.
Okay, we'll just take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Welcome back. You are still watching Uncommon Conversations on Signature Television, and we're still broadcasting from our studios in ENUGU. Chief Nwanjoko, I said you're a lawyer,
Yeah.
and a former local government chairman. And I'm sure you've read at least part of that judgment. What are your thoughts?
Thank you once again, Dr. Cyril. As a matter of fact, that judgment that was delivered last week by a panel of 7 Supreme Court justices, led by Justice Agim, that judgment has been applauded by vast majority of Nigerians. Some also, like you said, have some misgivings about that judgment. But whichever side one belongs of the argument, the popular view, opinion in the public space is that local government, everything should be done legally to ensure that local government enjoys autonomy as a third tier, a supposedly third tier system of government. I was privileged to appear in a radio discussion sometime last week, which you also anchored. and my views were made clear, which I'm going to restate here this evening. I said what the decision of the Supreme Court on that judgment is an act of judicial activism by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court tried to lean towards the yearning of the public. The Supreme Court is the final court, it's the last court. Being the last court, anything they say, whether it is wrong or right, is final. And becomes final until it is reversed by the Supreme Court, maybe in another opportunity, but not in the same matter. Arising from that, they've taken that decision to liberate the local government from the stronghold of the state government. But I did say, and I'm repeating it here, that that decision, most majority of Nigerians applauded it. It depends on the side you belong. But looking at it legally, the Supreme Court, like I said, their decision is an act of judicial activism, because if looking at the Constitution as it is, people have been blaming the governors that they are suffocating the local government, they are doing this, they are doing that. But if you look at the 1999 Constitution as amended, that is where the problem of local government is all encompassed.
Before you come, let's start with the one I know.
Okay.
And that is Section 7.1, which clearly guaranteed that there should be a democratically elected councils.
Yes.
Let's start from there.
Yes.
To what extent have the governors breached this part of the Constitution?
God bless you. You know, in legal drafting, meaning are given to certain words. If you look at that Section 7 you've just mentioned, you will see from beginning to the end, you will not see any word shall. And the law, once you say shall, it means compulsion. It's a must, you must do that. You just say guaranteed. Guaranteed. Is that there? If that thing has said, there shall be elected local government officials in not local government, I tell you, no governor under any guise will not obey that.
When you say something is guaranteed,
Yes.
so what does it mean?
It's assured. It's assured. But for it to get that deep assurance in law, the word conveying it must start with shall, and it is not there. And that's the loophole where most of the state government and governors are leaping on to do what they're doing. So you cannot completely accuse them of violating the Constitution, because explicitly the drafters did not make it so that there must be elected. There must be, like, if you continue with this conversation, you will see why people are contesting what the Supreme Court did. Section 162, sub 5, sub 6, sub 7, sub 8. You will see shall, which empowers the state government. All the revenues made for local government in every state or federation must be given to the state under which those local government, are domiciled. For instance, using our own state in ENUGU, that section 1625 says all the funds meant for local government in the federation should be credited to the states, various states, for the benefit of the local government. That would say, and say shall, which means must, the money must go there. And that's why what the Supreme Court did, some legal minds are questioning it, even some non-legal minds, because once the convention says shall, it means it must be done, and for that to be altered, it must pass through legislative process, which is the job of the National Assembly. Now, but on the other angle, the job of the Supreme Court, of the judiciary, is to interpret the laws made by the legislature. So, if by any means, in the eyes of any of the higher courts, and from the court of records, the Supreme Court, if in looking at, because it's a constitutional matter, if looking at the issues bothering, and they finds out that there is some mischief on the part of the legal drafters, they are at the liberty to give meaning to the true meaning which is intended, about that situation. And that's exactly what they did. Can I drink water? The Supreme Court in this instance looked at the intendment of the framers of that constitution. And the intendment was not that if the money comes to, if the money comes to the state government, they appropriate it and do it. They thought that we are dealing with men of conscience.
Okay, let me just come. Let me just come. What I think I want to address your mind to is that if the Constitution says, and rightly so, if it says, and rightly so, that democratically elected councils
Should run the government.
are guaranteed, and a governor, a Democrat, a man who has sworn to the oath
To observe.
to defend the Constitution, to protect the Constitution, is looking for a loophole, an avenue, a cheap way to truncate democracy at that level. As a former local government chairman that was elected, as an attorney, would you not think that such governors are certainly undemocratic?
Thank you, Doc, once again. Honestly, I'm not in this studio to rationalize what some governors are doing by not respecting the letters and spirit of the Constitution, whether it is a share or not. Common sense.
It's a mistake that should
Common
at least,
sense,
they
yes.
should, in a
So
democracy,
I'm not here to
they
say
should be
that
elected.
what they did is or was right. They are ordinarily supposed to follow to the letter what the Constitution, even if the Constitution, there are some,
Ambiguity.
I mean, they should be able to do what should be seen as just and equitable in the eyes of a human. So it is not proper for them to ignore or to be looking
To look for one loophole.
It's not proper.
To circumvent.
It's not proper.
Do you know what that meant? It means that the people at the ward level do not have a say who governs them. People at local government do not have a say who governs them. People are imposed on them willy-nilly, and so you don't appoint councillors, you don't appoint supervisors, so you just appoint
Chairman.
some people, just a few, who perhaps have never told the people this is what we are going to do if we get elected. So in that vein, they have nothing to work for.
It's wrong.
And the people have nothing to look up to.
It's wrong.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Having said that, and also as a lawyer, now I'm sure our viewers will want to know the particular areas of the Constitution that will need some kind of an amendment. Like you rightly said, the National Assembly should do something very quickly and very urgently to give teeth, or if there's a lacuna somewhere, to at least to balance what the Supreme Court has done by looking at those sections. One, that could be the section on this section 6, the one on joint account, and 162
Sub.
and the rest. So what would you advise the National Assembly to do, and how urgently should they do that?
As a matter of fact, what the Supreme Court had done already is to guarantee financial freedom to the local government. And whether people say they did it coming from the back door or front door, that is to that extent, by the but that is the new law in place.
Okay.
The local government have gotten financial freedom, financial autonomy right now. But the next question is, have they gotten political autonomy? The answer here, with the present constitution in place, they have not gotten political autonomy. Because insofar as the election to local government officials are left in the hands of the state government, as contained in the same constitution, which allows for each state to have state electoral commission, and many states in the federation don't have them in place. So insofar that one is still there, something there to be done. And to close the gap of agitations of some legal minds now questioning the audacity of Supreme Court to come from behind to amend the Constitution, the National Assembly can also, leverage from what Supreme Court has done and give it a further legal teeth by ensuring that necessary amendments are made in the Constitution to, as regards to Section 162 that deals with revenue that comes into these different tiers of government, especially as pertains the local government, because all the revenue from the FAC by this constitution are supposed to be domiciled in the account of state government, from where the state legislatures will further decide on how and prescribe on how this money should go to different local governments. For instance, let me use my own local government. If my local government Aniri gets 2 naira from FAC and is sent to the state government account and further sent to the joint account, because first of all, 2 accounts are mentioned there: state account, then joint account. If these monies are domiciled there, the provision still insists that the House of Assembly of each state will prescribe how this money will further be distributed. So the National Assembly needs to take it up immediately and see what they can do to effect necessary amendments. Then to give them full autonomy, the political aspect needs to be addressed. I just read yesterday that there's a bill before the National Assembly.
They say it passed the first reading.
Past first reading. Before now, during our last district, some of us were saying, let INEC handle it. But I think in their own wisdom, 774 local governments throughout the Federation to be given to INEC as an additional responsibility when INEC is finding it difficult to manage 36 state election and the state assembly's election and the assembly election, you are giving them another big responsibility. So I think in their own wisdom, I think what they are trying to do is good, to create a local government, a federal created local government electoral body that will now take care of local government elections. If this is done and passes the legislative eyes and get approved and get ascended by the president, who is hurry to local government administration. So if any president is elected, the people will hold him accountable. If he fails to perform, the people know what to do. Again, there is need for the Constitution to properly address the status of the local government, the Constitution. If you go to the Constitution, you see we have a federal government, we have a state government, all of them structurally defined. The local government just said, local government section 7, elected officials. Everything is subordinated to the state. They need to disentangle it and make them free, and let the Constitution specify the structure of the local government system, and their status should be defined in the Constitution, so that all this trouble will come to rest.
If I get you correctly, that would mean that you're advocating that the Constitution should actually make local governments at least a federative unit. Because as it is now, it is not.
It is not. That's not what I'm saying.
It's tied to the upper strengths, to the whims and caprices of the state government.
That is true.
A school of thought believes, and they hold strongly, that all funds before now collected, domiciled, managed by state governors should be so refunded. In fact, SERAP, that organization is insisting. Do you foresee a possibility of that? And if no, why? And if yes, why?
Okay. If they pursue such action, that would amount to academic exercise. Exercise in law. Because at the time they utilize those funds, the Constitution empowered them to do that. But by the new law in place, as put forward by judgment of Supreme Court a few days ago, any governor that does it again is in total breach and will be held accountable. And when you are making a law, you do not, the law does not take retrospective effect. What has happened now, you go back to the past to bring it forward. No, it doesn't happen that way. So SERAP, if they are pursuing that, they will just make some noise in the public, get applauded, but they will not get any legal remedy at the appropriate cost. It's going to be an academic exercise, and it will end at that. They will just end up making noise about it.
While we might say some governors may have run category committees for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, as the case may be, one man pointed that to me and said, could I ask my guest to interpret that for 7.5 years in Anambra State, under the watch of a man that many Nigerians believe is one of the most democratically minded person in Nigeria. And that's my brother, my friend, Itobi. He quotes the law, he knows the law, he speaks democracy, he exudes democracy. But he decided to cling on this aspect of the Constitution. And for 7.5 years, as governor of Anambra State, ran that state with caretaker committees. If you're asked to make a mild judgment on his status, what would you say?
Well, we all know the circumstances surrounding Obi's emergence as governor. Then he passed through the eye of the needle. His election, which, according to minds of reasonable public, he won the election. The victory was subverted, and it took him a whole hog of legal battle to reclaim that mandate. That's one. If you also look at why he was governor, you will notice that he operated with a legislature that had majority of the members from opposition. So, as a man, a smart guy, he had to look for a way to navigate himself in the jungle.
By denying people quality representation.
No, sir. Don't listen. He so far, look, no one were not kept idle. And I'm not holding forth for him. People were appointed to manage it because if his own, he must have calculated that if you organize the election, because the predominant party then was in opposition, his party may not win the election. That is one side of it. So the best bet, one thing is to win election and get power, and it is consolidate. So he had to consolidate before thinking of this. And also, like I said, the Constitution provided a leeway for him to do what he did. If the position of the local councils were properly defined by the 1999 Constitution as amended, that no governor is going to happen in time from now, we run a local government without elected officers, Obi would have done that. So we will not hold it against him. And what is important that during that 7 years plus, he dispensed democratic dividends. He was applauded as one of the best governors in Nigeria. You can attest to that. MDG, United Nations applauded him in developmental indices during his time. So Obi was seen as one of the prudent managers of resources in Anambra. I can tell you, during his tenure, there was...
Can he be prudent in managing my own funds?
Sir?
Can he be prudent in managing my funds?
I can manage your funds.
You only manage your funds.
I can manage your funds. Unless
Could he be prudent?
Unless you give me authority to manage
Could
it.
he be prudent in not allowing the local governments to have a bit of democracy while you are enjoying one?
Yeah. That's what we are saying. I keep saying that there is need to rejig the Constitution to get the local government properly placed. Once this thing is done, this is so.
And something is very curious. Unless, if I'm wrong, you may correct me. Since this judgment was given last week, Obi has not said a word. And he's one man that is vocal. We like him. Something happens in Nigeria, he will
react.
He will make an elaborate commentary on it. Maybe I'm wrong. I've not seen anyone. I'm sure if he had done, he would have trended.
He has not, and he has not. And for me, he cannot do it otherwise because he was a victim of those who sat on local government. So what do you expect to say? Will he come to start crying? The best is to maintain study silence.
This is what they call political selective amnesia.
Study silence. At least everybody, we are in a learning process. People are now learning every day. It's not going to be like that again for what is going on now.
Now, for some states to access local government funding, as we without considering, as it is happening, that money is going to local governments may not go any further. Meaning that within the time that states are not conducting local government election, funds may not go to local governments. And if they do not go for 1 month, even for 2 months, do you see a political upheaval?
And there'll be crisis.
Or a dislocation?
There'll be crisis.
And if there be one, is there any way they can circumvent it and make sure that workers
are
at least paid?
Of course. That's why we have intergovernmental relations. One thing, the judgment has been given. Another thing is the implementation stage. And we are human beings. This can also be discussed. We have a forum of governors forum who can interface with the Office of the Attorney General, with the Office of the Presidency via Attorney General. The President can give Attorney General go ahead to discuss with the forum of governors, and they can discuss on the timeline, for every governor to go home and do the needful by ensuring that they organize the legislative election in the various states while the process of National Assembly, because that one cannot happen immediately. If you undergo, maybe by next year we'll have a body, after the state government having government affairs. But for this particular judgment, in order to avoid crisis, but the worst thing that will happen is that somebody who receives his salary every month, the civil servants, all of a sudden, by virtue of this judgment, the salary is not paid because the money is not wired down. There could be discussion at the intergovernmental level, which is provided also administratively. So the forum of governors forum can now, come together and interface with the presidency and sort that one out. So funds, even if that meant for paying salaries, could be released to the various local government for them to pay the salary, while other things are, done. Otherwise, the decision ought to take once the enrollment order is released. Become fly.
Well, I think we may just have to temporarily leave the issue of local government autonomy for now, and look at other things that also may as well border on good governance, both at the state and at national level. Between Monday and Wednesday of this week that is ending, ENUGU State was agog, and ENUGU State played host. So, if my memory is wrong, 12, 13 governors that came from every part of Nigeria, what they call the PDP Governors Forum. Yeah. They came to ENUGU State. And between Monday evening and Tuesday and Wednesday, there were kind of some road congestion because with sirens,
Blaring.
every part of Enugu State.
That's true.
And so there was movement. There was influx of men and women, governors, their supporters into Enugu State for what they call the PDP Governors Forum. Hoteliers, some people who are doing some business in Enugu State, benefited from these influx of the political leaders.
That's true.
Of 13 states into Enugu State. But others said, look, these governors left their states for 3 days. Some left on Monday, and they had their meeting Tuesday, and some decided to go back late Wednesday. That means for 3 days, 13 states in Nigeria, the chief executives were absent from duty.
Yes.
They aggregated in Enugu.
Yes.
While they're saying, it's not that they spent 3 days out of their stations. What a chunk of money.
Yeah. Were
expended in coming here. And of course, the host state would also have done that. Many say that meeting was not worth the expenditure. And they were insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. Because one man summed it up. He said, even those who made movement, that movement could have, if you check, I said, but you don't know the amount of money expended.
Yeah.
He said on the conservative, you could build 2 hospitals. somewhere in this part of the country. Now, do you believe that movement was justified?
Thank you once again, Doc. Before I address that, let me say one final thing about local autonomy.
Okay.
I want to appreciate the current leadership at the presidency, led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because it takes a man to get something done. During Buhari's reign, he tried to use
executive order.
Yeah, it couldn't work. So I want to say in this station that Tinubu is a pure Democrat, because if actually at the end of the day, local government are freed from various state governments, to be fully independent, people can now, that is the government and the grassroots. Not many have access to state government, not many. So that's why local government is in place. If you go to foreign jurisdictions, go to England, go to America, the mayor of London is in charge of transportation. That is a critical sector of London economy. And it is a local government that is, navigating it.
Even the mayor of New York.
The same thing in New York. So, and this is a government that is closest to the people. Like I said, not many have access. You and I will have access, but the majority of people at the communities don't have access to the state government, but they have, the traditional leaders have access to the local government. So I want to commend the leadership of current leadership at national level for taking this bold step, for initiating that suit at the Supreme Court, and commending the justices of the Supreme Court for being bold, audacious to take that historic decision. It could be based on public policy.
They concluded it in 2 months.
Policy and not on law.
In 2 months, they concluded it.
Yes, we commend them. So let's begin. I encourage all the stakeholders, the governors, not to see it as being that people are trying to bring them down. No. They're already at the topper level. Nobody can bring them down. There should be collaboration ordinarily. If the framers, their intendment was properly, put in place, that would have been this thing. And people cannot begin to look at the amount of fund, being mentioned. And you know that with the removal of oil subsidy, first subsidy, chunk of funds are coming in to all these various sectors, various levels. So if, for instance, you are looking at a local government, every month they go home, supposedly 300, 400 million, you hold the local government chairman accountable for not doing what you're supposed to do. So all in all, I think all parties should be happy with this development. That having said, going back to what you said.
Yes, you just hold your thought a bit. Let's just go on a short break. When we come back, Chief Okeze will talk about the PDP governors forum meeting that happened in ENUGU and the subsequent communique that was actually issued at the end of that meeting. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You are still watching Uncommon Conversations on Signature Television, reaching you from ENUGU, the coast city state. Okeze, we before we went on break, you were trying to make comments about the Southeast governors, PDP governors meeting that happened in ENUGU. So what are your thoughts?
First of all, let me come from the foundation you laid, that they left their various states.
For almost 3 days.
For almost 3 days. I dare say that we should not forget that by the time they were elected, the Constitution foresaw this situation, and that's why there is a governor and a deputy governor.
You're not sure they handed to any deputy governor, but go ahead.
So supposedly, each of the governors that came to ENUGU is expected to have handed the reins of government to his deputy. If he's working, whether they're working well or not, they've been elected.
They didn't travel outside the country.
At least they should hold forth for those period. Then that's one. Two, we're also the world is also a global village. A governor can stay in ENUGU during that meeting and still control affairs in his state via digital communication. So on that basis, they cannot be found wanting. Then on the importance of the meeting they held in ENUGU, of course, a every governor is elected through a political platform. No governor was elected as independent candidate via governor, as provided in our constitution, because there's no room for independent candidates. To that extent, because they were elected under political platforms, there is need for once in a while, that those governors coming from different political parties should meet and review, even if you call it the peer review mechanism. They can compare notes, what is happening in state A and state B, what is happening, and who are being looked as doing better than others. In the the media is now the watchdog, the 40th state. And you see every day my own governor receives award for what he's doing here in Enugu, has received several awards, in the recent time. And so it should be. If you are doing very well, you'll be noticed and you'll be applauded and commended. So I don't find anything wrong in that meeting, especially when now PDP, which hitherto used to be the ruling party in Nigeria, has all of a sudden found itself to the extent of having only 13 states as today out of 13 states. It had never happened. That shows that there's something wrong with our party. I'm a PDP man. So, and whether you like it or not, he who plays the piper dictates the tune. The party, yes, they say you contribute, I contribute to run the party, but in actual sense, these who are holding the reins of power at this level, led by the party, are expected through any means to ensure that the life of the party is kept afloat. And to that extent, our party, the PDP, may not be floating if these people who were elected under this platform abandon the party. So it's good that they come together and discuss. And the party is having a problem at the moment. We're talking about 2027, it's almost around the corner. The first year is gone. Next year, more development by these governors. The third year, they start doing politics. So they need to put their house in order. You get the point. And one of the resolutions they also reached, trying to be their brother's keeper. What is happening in Rivers State?
I was really going to ask you that question.
Okay.
If you read the communique,
Yes.
you will see it was vague. Yeah, the communique is almost as empty as it could be. It said they resolved to support
Fubara.
Fubara. What does that mean?
They also added, you didn't want to point that one, they want to approach the matter from political perspective. They want to resolve it not through legal. They want to, and I'm happy you're a powerful ADR expert. That matter in their own wisdom could be settled out of court. And that's the angle they want to pursue it, and that, which means that the protagonists of this battle, the governor and his SY, this godfather, the Mr. Nwike, you cannot resolve that thing without getting two of them involved. It's not possible.
The Governors Forum of the PDP,
Yes,
I think they are members of NEC, or members of what of their party.
they are NEC members.
This issue in River didn't start yesterday.
That's true.
There was a time they had a NEC meeting. Wike was there, and Fubara was there. How come it's taking them this long? Because this matter didn't start yesterday. They've been out of court. When their members of the House of Assembly defected, so it's been lingering. They didn't even call an emergency meeting. They waited until they came to Enugu. Almost more than 6 months. Somebody whose house has been burning is still as powerful as Rivers. And by a May declaration, I thought that what we would have been saying is, in the past 1 month, we've been able to go into Rivers, and we'll have a tentative discussion. They're saying they're going to support. Wike is a member of the PDP. Does that not show discrimination?
Okay.
And the former governor.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. I also want to bring you to bear to know that the PDP, as we have today, whether we like it or not, is, at national level, is polarized along two lines. And that is those who believe in ex-Governor Wike and those who follows former presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar. And that's what we find in that national executive. So each group will be trying behind the scene to follow the rhythm of the music being dictated by the paymaster, and that is why it's difficult to resolve that matter. Don't also forget that this matter, Mr. President, even though it's not our party, intervened, and they got to a kind of resolution, which we don't know what happened, who was at, who defaulted.
Of course, it broke down.
Who defaulted, it broke down irretrievably. So, and that's why they've gone back to court. And it does appear Mr. President has washed his hands off the case. Let the court decide. But if the PDP, as we had over the weekend, decide to come in, those governors come in to wade into the matter and pursue it from political angle, there's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in trying. But I still tell you that the truth is bitter truth. This matter could only be resolved between Wike and Fubara. That's bitter truth. Two of them know what is the problem. They need to, people should sing their pride. The man knew how he became governor. If this guy had not projected him, sorry for sounding this way, he wouldn't have become. Wike should also know the limitations.
Yes.
Where to draw the line. You cannot make me governor and want to subject me. So two of them need to meet. Sing their pride, meet. And this is out, inside one corner, and matter is resolved. Not bringing many parties to come into it.
Okay. That seems to be the words of an elder. Part of the communique also enjoined the president, as they said. What is even an appeal? They said the meeting also enjoined the president not to show any political preference or interference in the upcoming elections in Edo and Ondo states. Is it possible to have Mr. President and two states are up for grabs? One is an APC state and one is a PDP state. And you will not make any kind of, you will not even support your party. You go and stay neutral because you are president. Most of the governors who have conducted local government elections, where other parties participated, did they show any neutrality based on their knowledge? And so if they did not, those who produce wheat should learn how to eat wheat.
So my response to there, let me start from the last you said, the governors organized local government elections, allowing the winner, the party in place winning the whole. That's why
to clear
that's
everything.
Why people say it's a charter, it's not election. It's election. Once you are the government, the party in power anoints you, governor clears you, you are already chairman. So that's why people are saying no. Take away the current of a government election away from the state government, have a separate body to do it, which they are trying to do now. So, but if the governors, you know, if they are reasonable enough, as we say in law, to once you've won an election, that's a way even to test the popularity of your party at the different local government levels. They should be able to encourage the independence of the electoral commissions to conduct this election. I commend the former governor El-Rufai of Kaduna, the only governor in Nigeria that conducted the election, and some parties won some local governments. And my leader and my governor also did it when he was Governor Chime, conducted the election, and one opposition party won a local government, I think, Udenu. So we expect,
and many councillors
we expect the current leaders to encourage freedom, you know, of doing these things, and not because when you make it one party, it looks like it makes the party makes it in a laughing stock, you know, because of one or two motive or the other. So the ideal thing is to liberalize the polity at the local government level. Let the popularity of the parties be tested. But because it is not being done, that's why they clamor everywhere for local government to be freed. Then, having said that, whether what they're asking, the request or the demand for the president to allow free, for me, that request is uncalled for. Because we have a body separate from the president, which is called INEC, that run this election. We've also had an election that was off-season election, and that is Bayelsa State. And the president sat like that, and at Asoro, election was conducted, and they won again and came back. So this request, maybe they're not trying to re-emphasize. We've known this man as a Democrat, I don't see him coming out nakedly that his party must win. Some people might persuade him to do it, but I don't see President Tinubu doing that. He won't do that. So I dare say that the request by our party governors, I mean, is if I use the word, they should go and join their colleagues there and campaign. The campaign period is still there, and get convinced people to win the election. Not looking for is it award? It's not award. It's election.
Okay. By that, would you find anything odd if Mr. President traveled to Ondo to campaign for his candidate, or perhaps traveled to Edo to campaign for his candidate? Assuming you are a governorship candidate, and you now invite Mr. President that you have a campaign, and ask him to come to your domain, to say one or two things to your people.
Yes.
And he said, this is my party man, please vote for him. Would that amount to interference?
At all. He's a party, he was elected under a party platform, and the election is being conducted along certain party lines. He's expected to, if he's invited by his party candidate to come and campaign, if he has the time, he can go. If he doesn't, he can delegate somebody. Because the job at the president,
he's the leader of the party,
is so enormous for him to even have time to attend. But if he does have time, it does not mean that once he appears there, the candidate must win the election. No. The candidate vying for the election, Nigerians are wiser now. They will look at what you have presented, their manifesto, and also look at the performance of those who are leaving the stage. If, for adventure, the sitting governor of a particular state, when the election was conducted for that particular party, did not do well, do not expect the person to win election. He will not win because people will judge him. It happened in my local election here, by-election. Let me not discuss it here. So if the outgoing governor of a party, any of those states did not do well, there is likely tendency that the candidate they are projecting will lose the election. That is the truth of the matter.
Maybe lastly on this matter, the PDP governors took a swipe on the APC-led government as concerns the economy. And they said they ran the economy better than the APC, that the APC had brought the Nigerian economy to the ground. One man particularly said, when we were discussing the thing yesterday, he said, well, if the ENUGU Onitsha road is anything to go by, that the PDP should actually cover their faces. It's a shame. Because you need, now you can, he said you can go to Onitsha now.
It is.
Using the express. It may not be totally perfect. But he said in the time of PDP, you couldn't go through that. So very quickly, what do you have to say?
Well, you see, if we are sincere enough and not to be partisan, I make bold to say, if not for the mistake made by Mr. President at his inauguration, when he said subsidy removed, that brought the problem, the current hardship everybody's facing in Nigeria. Because the Nigerian economy is dictated by the oil, Nigerian oil. So by that singular executive pronouncement as the new sheriff in town, change the narratives, have pushed everybody back to the driver's seat. So, and they've been struggling since then to navigate themselves out of it. But in fair to them, going by what we can see for social development going on, Doc, we have to give Mr. Tinubu and his team kudos. That's my stand on that.
Okay, that's a very fast one. You know, the way this 1 hour will just disappear, you think it's just 10 minutes. A very fast last one. Yesterday, all this fight in Nigeria about minimum wage, all this rigmarole, all this endless strike, all this 1 million naira march, and all that would appear to have come to an end yesterday, just very suddenly. Mr. President said 70,000 naira. And Labour said, we're home and dry. Your comments?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the President for being sensitive to the plight of Nigerian workers. I also commend the NLC, TUC for their bargain chip, they bargained. If you look at the progression, you see before now, the minimum wage was 30,000 naira. From 30, they now get an additional increase of 40,000 naira, making it 70. So it's more than 100% increase. And the good thing there, as I read this afternoon from one of the tabloids, is that it's no longer 5 years you come back to discuss. It cannot be discussed within 3-year tenure. You come back. And that, made the workers to become more happier going home. And you also observe that before now, one particular state in the South was paying 70,000. And I'm happy Mr. President keyed into it. And that is those states. I have to mention it. I commend them. And maybe because it's going, they raise this state. So what we're saying, at least it's a step going forward. And let me also tell the NLC and TUC, strike most often does not solve this problem, because end up, getting everything strangulated, getting people more frustrated. This can also be handled through other ADRMAs and get the country moving.
Okay, thank you, Chief Okezie Mwanjoko, for finding time to be with us here. And I would dare say that you've been able to discharge the questions that we posed on you.
Thank you very much, sir. My pleasure.
Hope that next time when we invite you, find time to come to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And to our viewers, you've been watching Uncommon Conversations. And this is where we bring it to an end. Join us same time next week for yet more interesting editions of this program. Thank you for watching.
Me too, I'm also a graduate, and since I graduated, things has been so much very hard, because in this country today, if you don't have someone in the government or in upper, all these things, you find it difficult to get a job. Even when you merit it, it will still be difficult for you. So as it stands now, not only the youth, the whole country is facing challenge of hardship, you understand, because even our age parents that spend their hard-earned money to train us, expecting us to be training them back at this time of their old age, still we have nothing to offer them because of the country in it. But I wouldn't say that we are going to relent. We still we continue to push harder, even if it is learning handwork in order to earn a living, because I know that certainly one day that certificate is going to bring work, and a better one at that.
The level of unemployment in Nigeria is maximum. There's nothing to talk about it. The government are not doing anything. See youths, every time they will graduate, no work. After graduation, it seems that those people that even left school to learn skills, they are even better than us that are graduates.
I don't believe there is unemployment. There is no unemployment in Nigeria. Being in Nigeria makes you unemployed. What do I mean by that? For me, I can't be unemployed. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a chef. So I started cooking from a tender age. I learned it from my mom, then I furthered into catering school. So I feel the parental upbringing should also help in curbing unemployment. So I don't think there is unemployment. Anybody that is unemployed in Nigeria just chose to be unemployed. The problem we have in Nigeria is we always look at the government. We always look up to the government. This time around, we don't need to look at the government. We should try to strive. We should try to, like this I can't be unemployed. I keep using myself as an example. I employ people. I'm a chef. I cook. I run Utazi mobile services. So I don't see the reason why there should be unemployment. Let us leave government aside. Though we need them. And that is where we should come together and look at their policies. Checkmate policies. That is where we will start looking at government. But if we are waiting for government to provide everything, it's not in Nigeria.
I graduated in 2019 from Delta State University, and since then I haven't got a job. I've been doing everything on my own. That is why I decided to join this skill acquisition, which is inverting into agriculture, and that is why I'm here today, so that I can improve myself in agriculture. The government needs to understand and hear about this as well, because they need to improve as well in providing job opportunities for students as well. Yeah.
It's actually unemployment that can actually lead so many youths into doing so many awful things, which doesn't really make any sense in the society.
because it can actually, how will I say it? It can actually place so many people like into, like, let me just say for example, into stealing, into robbing, and sometimes even like changing from what they are to what they are not.
May the soul of Senator Oba and the souls of the faithfully departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. May we sit. Good evening all. Your Excellency, the Senate President, Your Excellency, the former President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished senators present, former governors, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. The thought of standing before you tonight to do this scares the living hell out of me. Never in my life that I ever thought that I would be in a position to be doing this. But it is what it is. We lost a good man. I want to welcome you all. I want to thank you for taking out time to come and celebrate, come and mourn with us, come and pay tribute to a great Nigerian, a great African, and one of the greatest Igbo men. Ifeanyi Uba loved his people so much that I would dare say that he died working for his people. He died caring for his people. Alo mel ndị Igbo. Alo mel.
Senator Dr. Patrick Ifeanyi Uba was more than a loving husband and a devoted father. He was a visionary businessman, a charismatic leader, and a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic. This is the journey of a man who rose from modest beginnings to becoming a powerhouse of business, a political heavyweight, a generous philanthropist, and a celebrated global citizen. Born on September 3, 1971 to Mr. and Mrs. Alphonsus Uba of Otolo Nnewi, Anambra State, from birth seemed marked by destiny. His mother, Madam Grace Ozi Chukwu Uba, had faced ridicule for years due to her lack of a male child. In despair, she sought divine intervention. Soon after, she conceived, and 9 months later, she welcomed Ifeanyi into the world at Pfizer's Hospital, Aba. Not long after his birth, two preachers prophesied his unique destiny, that he was born with a divine mandate and would one day bring blessings to many. This belief shaped his upbringing, even leading his father Alphonsus to allow him to leave school early to go into business, with the promise that he would return to his studies upon achieving success. A promise he fulfilled by eventually obtaining a law degree from Bayes University and later pursuing an MBA and a master's degree in peace studies. Filled by ambition and his modest background, Ifeanyi left home as a teenager and started his early career as an apprentice under Chief Vincent Udebe in Lagos, learning skills that would set the stage for his remarkable career. The Igbo apprenticeship model instilled in the young Ifeanyi a keen business sense and an unyielding work ethic. His natural business acumen quickly became evident as he ventured into auto parts, oil exports, related services, establishing a distinct presence in these sectors early in life. His business operations soon expanded beyond Nigeria to include various West African countries with a significant footprint in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was in Congo that his leadership abilities truly began to shine. Elected as leader of the Nigerian business community in Congo at just 21, Ifeanyi held the position for 11 years, using it to advocate for Nigerians and build relationship with influential figures, including then-President Laurent Kabila. This relationship helped him improve welfare of Nigerians in Congo and deepen diplomatic ties between the two nations. These ties also nourished his business, leading his companies to win contracts for infrastructure projects and mining concessions. In 1993, during a visit to Nnewi, Ifeanyi met Uchenna, and their connection was immediate. At 22, he introduced her to his family, and on November 1st, 1997, they were married at St. Dominic Catholic Church in Yaba. Together, they built a family of 5 children, a daughter, Chidera, and 4 sons, Ifeanyi Jr., Chidumebi, Chibuikem, and Ejim. This family foundation, alongside his business accomplishments, emboldened him to return to Lagos and establish Capital Oil and Gas Industries Limited in 2001.
I remember when Ifeanyi arrived, particularly into the oil and gas sector. He was a young entrepreneur. He quickly proved his business acumen and dexterity. He showcased his dynamic capacity and doggedness.
As Ifeanyi's influence and business grew, so did his reach. In 1993, he diversified his trading operations across Belgium, Germany, the UK, and the Gulf, investing in South Africa and Dubai real estates before expanding into fisheries, brewing and mining in Tanzania and Namibia. His portfolio became a testament to his resilience, vision, and relentless pursuit of success. Incorporated in 2001, Capital Oil and Gas began full operation in 2003 after Nigeria's downstream oil sector was deregulated.
When Ifeanyi came back from Congo to Nigeria, he ventured into oil and gas. And I would dare say that when Ifeanyi entered oil and gas and formed Capital Oil, which later became one of the most indigenous oil companies in Nigeria, by 2007, we were able to open our first depot, to be precise, March 17, 2007. And by then, oil and gas was dominated by some heavyweights. But when he came in, I will tell you that he was a game changer. He changed things. And he was able to build one of the largest depots in Nigeria, one of the biggest jetties in Nigeria, and control over 60 or 65% of daily consumption being dispensed from those depots.
Within 6 years, Capital Oil had become a leader in the Nigerian oil industry, with extensive storage facilities capable of handling over 55 million liters of petroleum products daily, supplying about 40% of Nigeria's petroleum needs. Ifeanyi's business was instrumental in stabilizing fuel supply during times of crisis, and his Kero Direct initiative, which brought subsidized kerosene directly to rural communities, solidified his reputation as both a business innovator and a public benefactor. As his business profile continued to grow, he diversified his holdings. These ventures quickly carved out their own successes, positioning him as a multifaceted business leader. In the media, he launched the Authority newspaper, Authority Radio, and media houses that brought new dimension to how news is served. It was in 2015 that Ifeanyi's passion for football led him to establish FC Ifeanyi, one of the few privately owned football clubs in Nigeria's professional league, representing Anambra in the Nigeria Premier Football League. His investments in the club made history as it became the first Nigerian club to sign Brazilian players and later partnered with West Ham United, bringing international flair to Nigerian football. His efforts led to FC Ifeanyi winning the 2016 Federation Cup, and his One Family, One Footballer project, endorsed by FIFA, brought thousands of footballs to young Africans, fostering grassroots football development. In May 2016, he was elected chairman of the Anambra State Football Association, ushering in what many consider a golden era for football in the state.
I don't know how to qualify Ifeanyi. He's a great man. But the only thing I have to say, it's going to take a long time to have another Ifeanyi in the sports industry, not only football.
Throughout his life, Ifeanyi's success fueled his commitments to philanthropy. Through the Ifeanyi Foundation, he championed education by offering scholarships, educational resources, and free university tuition to underprivileged youths. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he mobilized resources to establish 2 ultra-modern medical centers, which became critical to Anambra and surrounding regions. Ifeanyi's philanthropic reach extended into spiritual and community development. He funded the construction of Our Lady of Assumption Catholic Cathedral and renovated various churches. His foundation also facilitated infrastructural projects, including installing streetlights and building ICT centers in universities and communities, all aimed at empowering the next generation.
During the course of his life, he affected a whole lot of people, not just within maybe his place of origin, but all across the world. I'm not even going to relegate it to Nigeria alone.
Patrick, you touch our lives profoundly, and we are all a testament to that. Thank you, my brother.
This is a man that has passion for what he does. The most important thing that I keep asking myself is, what happens to the thousands of people that solely depend on Ifeanyi?
He is a man of the people, someone that feels the pain of others, especially the have-nots, dejected, poor, and the needy. He actually lived and died for them.
In 2013, Ifeanyi made his political debut by contesting the Anambra State gubernatorial election, establishing himself as a formidable force. In 2019, he was elected senator for Anambra South under the Young Progressives Party, YPP.
The things that you didn't believe that can be achievable, if anybody would do that, imagine floating in an unknown party. And with an unknown party, he was able to win Senate position. Anambra senatorial zone, the shoe Ifeanyi left, we are still thinking of who can that shoe fit.
During his time in the Senate, he co-sponsored the landmark Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Bill, significantly boosting Nigeria's oil revenues. As Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream and later Chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream, Ifeanyi played an instrumental role in various legislative initiatives. His contributions included sponsoring motions that addressed crucial issues, from supporting Nigeria's indigenous airlines to tackling the high cost of shipping and securing relief for Nigerian businesses abroad.
Anything Ifeanyi knows that is going to affect people, he will show his opposition to it, and he will say, even if you people will pass it, me, I don't believe in it, and I'm not for it. And he's one person that believes so much in his own constituents.
always willing to assist, always willing to help, and helping so happily. See somebody willing to help, but helping happily, very excited, helping and giving out to the people, to the society, to the less privileged. If I was a fantastic legislator.
Recognizing the need for security and empowerment, Ifeanyi launched the Operation Secure South initiative in partnership with the ENUGU Concerned Citizens (NCC). This program provided vehicles, solar-powered streetlights, and CCTV systems to improve security in Anambra South. His efforts ensured a safer environment and revitalized community events, attracting visitors to the region. On March 23, 2024, Ifeanyi organized the largest empowerment event in Anambra's history at his international stadium in Nnewi, providing thousands of vehicles, solar-powered machines, and cash grants. This event symbolized the dedication to uplifting his people through both direct support and systemic change. Senator Ifeanyi Ubah's philanthropy transcended financial support, inspiring others to join his mission for social upliftment as a leader and humanitarian. His legacy is carried forward by the Ifeanyi Ubah Foundation, whose work continues to impact lives in education, healthcare, security, and economic empowerment.
Ifeanyi was hope for some people. Ifeanyi was life to some people. Ifeanyi gave people the will to wake up the next day. And Ifeanyi was very compassionate. He emptied his pocket to people that he didn't know. So Ifeanyi was a game changer, a problem solver. He was everything for our people.
He loved the people so much. He was ready to give everything to people. Ifeanyi represented excellence in everything he tried to do. He conquered in the business field. He excelled in politics. Ifeanyi achieved impossibilities in the political field. In our area, in our place, in my community, in my town, in my state, in my zone, in our country, we can never have any Ifeanyi Ubah. Ifeanyi will remember you. Egwe Chukwuzo, Dikem, Ikemba, Ezana Nnewi, Ifeanyi Chukwu, we will never forget you.
It's such a grave loss not only to the immediate family, the wife and children whom we commiserate with, and to tell you that the death is not only a loss to you, it's a loss to the entire Nnewi people commiserate with you, to all of us from the South Senatorial Zone, and to the entire Anambra State, because he was a senator representing Anambra State, even though from the South Senatorial Zone, and to Nigeria, because he served Nigeria under the auspices of the Senate. We can only say, may his soul rest in peace, and God grant him eternal rest.
Amara Chineke, Obaroba Nebem. Take my hands and bless them, after the cross of thy love. Take my feet and let them be sweet and beautiful. Daddy, it's Dara, your first seed, your only daughter. You're there. Writing this now is something I never foresaw doing until we're both old and wrinkled, laughing over the sounds of your grandchildren playing in the compound. Life deals us unexpected cars and blues, yes, but at least I had the honor, the comfort, and ultimately the uncontainable joy of calling you my dad. For that, I am forever grateful to God for the cards I was dealt at birth, stepping into this world, greeted by the beautiful faces of you and mommy, smiling instead of crying, as I must have somehow known that God had already gifted me with a lion, a king, a force to be reckoned with, who I would call father. Many called him Senator Dr. Patrick Ifeanyiba, but I called him Daddy, and he called me daughter Ada Ifeanyiba, Ada Lion. You may be gone physically, but your blood runs through my veins, reminding me you are always nearby and encouraging me to stay strong and keep my head up, because that is who you were and how you have raised me. To reflect you in any way, Daddy, is an honor and a crown I wear with immense pride. Being your first child and only daughter, I had the privilege of knowing a version of you that others did not. The bond we shared was like no other, and the thought of having you gone and our connection severed is something I'm still struggling to accept. You used to start our calls with silence. That was our thing. Before you would break into praises, a comforting smile stretching across your lips as you'd say, Ago Ada, Ada Ifeanyiba, my only daughter, my darling daughter. I loved when you acknowledged me as yours because in those moments we felt inseparable. I truly felt I was a part of you, an extension of your strength, your love, your life. It breaks my heart to have to write this, to recount our memories rather than create new ones, to scroll through photos and videos to laugh with you instead of simply calling you on WhatsApp, knowing you would always answer or call back because it was me and because I was your priority. To have to listen to the voice notes we exchanged between each other instead of calling you and hearing you update me on your latest endeavors. That's another thing. My father wasn't a dreamer. He was a visionary, a doer, a serious accomplisher. The confidence I carry today has been ingrained in me straight from birth. You called it lion spirit, and it will forever live on in this family. The lion spirit you drilled into us is about being fearless, strong, and proud of who you are and where you come from. It's about making your presence known, constantly pushing yourself to be better, not just for yourself, but for your family. That is the legacy you leave behind and one I will uphold every day of my life. Oh, how I wish to wake up to your calls again, debate with you about what's happening in the world as we usually did, or come home to you and mommy waiting for me with open arms and a proud knowing smile on your faces. Life can never resemble normalcy again without you. Gone but never forgotten. For as long as your blood runs through my veins and your wise words echo in my mind, you will remain alive in my heart. I am yours, Daddy, and you are mine, now and forever. I love you, Daddy, and I know that one day we will meet again. Until then, please keep watching over us. You are truly Daddy like no other, a man like no other, my first love and my everlasting love. Watch me make you proud, as you always made me proud. Thank you, Daddy, for the selfless acts you carried out on this earth, for the uncountable lives you touched. The nation thanks you. Your family thanks you. Now rest in absolute peace with the Almighty God until we are reunited again to part no more. You live forever in the hearts of those that love you so deeply. Insurmountable love, your only daughter, Yoda Adeze Uba.
Ifeanyiba is a phenomenal man. He's a man you cannot describe very easily. I first met Ifeanyi in 2007 after I left my seat as governor of Anambra State. And I tried to see if I can come back in 2007 election, national election. We have been driven out of the People's Democratic Party, where we were deregistered, notwithstanding the fact that we were the founders of the party, that we went to all the meetings in Jerry Gana's house with our flagship man, Alex Ekweme. And, but in 2006, we were unlucky. Both of those who didn't commit a crime and those who committed a crime were all driven away, including Atiku Abubakar, number 2 man. He was driven away. So we were wondering about, we became wanderers, politically IDPs, internally displaced politicians, and PDP. Ifeanyi came to me after that 2007. I said, oh, guy, you need to come back to this seat. I said, but you saw what has happened to me in 2007. He said, no. This 2010, it will be another kettle of fish. Ifeanyi was the highest donor to that campaign. He was the highest donor. What are your needs? I said, we need to, this new party, Bolekaja party now, that Igbos call it party in the Yoruba. Party in the Yoruba, where does he think he's going with this Bolekaja party? But we shot them in 2010. We won a lot of local government. Senator Vitumen, he knows what they did under Abga. You know, when you are strong in politics, you can rig. When you are not strong, if you rig, it will show. People will go to court and do all sorts of things. So I don't know what Victor Maiden did, but the important thing is that we won them in their base in Nnewi. And one man did the magic. Senator Ifeanyi Oba. Ifeanyi is gone. He's no more here. But he's still here. How? He has etched his name, his personality in the minds of many people, especially the downtrodden in Anambra State and elsewhere, not only Anambra State. His name, Ebube Chukwuzo, means you put God first in whatever you do. He's a Catholic like myself, and he practices his Catholicism absolutely. Good family man. So my take is that the National Assembly, the Anambra State government must do something remarkable for Ifeanyi Oba. He wasn't just an ordinary senator, I can tell you. Whether he wanted to vie for governorship in 2026 against the incumbent governor or not, no. This is a man who came and made a difference. He came with a Bolekaja party called YPP. And won Senate seat 2 times. I don't know how many people have done it in Anambra State, maybe Iyom, but Iyom's zone is 1.5. Vitume's zone is 1.5. Yes, so I thank all of you for being here with us, because for me, the Anambra people own this burial. It's our own, and you are all supporting us. But the support has been tremendous, and we ask you to do more for us. In Jesus' name. Let the Almighty God take this and accept his soul too, in Jesus' name.
It is sad to realize that we are not here gathered to celebrate the political victory of Ifeanyi Oba. It is more so sad to realize that we are not here to celebrate the business progress of Senator Ifeanyi Oba. Rather, we are here gathered to mourn his demise. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the ebullient and gregarious Ifeanyi Oba is gone. Ifeanyi, my brother, good night. May your soul rest in peace, and may the Almighty grant your immediate family the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss. Thank you.
Sadly, this is not the type of tribute that anybody would have wished for at this time. The demise of Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Oba is still a rude shock to me and the party. He left us when the party was still basking in the euphoria of his defection to the All Progressive Congress, APC. The party had concluded plans to utilize his political structures and zonal-wide acceptability to drive the demarginalization process of the party to bring Anambra State and other remaining states in the Southeast geopolitical zone to the progressive fold, as well as provide the zone access to the mainstream national politics. My sincere thoughts are with everybody who is connected to the late Senator Uba at his horrendous period of mourning. May God Almighty grant all of us the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss and grant his soul eternal rest.
Frankly speaking, the day the news of the death of Ifeanyi Uba was announced, I call it a heartbreaking news. A heartbreaking news because Ifeanyi Uba is one man I describe as someone who has immense capacity in every ramification. He was a very progressive business mogul. He came into the political space, also made an indelible remark, particularly the Young Progressives Party. But there is no party like, I can't remember the name he was calling that. Every party is a political party because we're in a society where people, other respect must be accorded to. But I don't want to go into that political phrase. Ifeanyi Uba, it's very hard for me to stand here today, honestly, to talk about Ifeanyi Uba. If I remember, sometimes 6-7 years ago, when we crossed paths, we didn't started to talk about politics because I own a football academy, and that was how we met. And I knew the kind of impact he made to Amaxon Soccer Academy. In fact, our relationship started from there. We crossed paths, and we started our relationship from there. Not until sometimes around 2017 years, after YPP, we got our certificate. The man Ifeanyi Uba called me one day and said, Mr. YPP, that's why I'm wearing on this cap. I said, Ifeanyi Uba, that was the name I called him. He said, please, can we meet? It's very important that we meet. I said, okay. I met with him, and we had a very, very fruitful discussion. And what was the discussion? I like what you have started, and I'm going to support you to succeed in this your political sojourn. And indeed, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Patrick Uba, I don't think we can have anyone like you in YPP anymore. But what I can assure you, I know your spirit is somewhere watching us. That spirit of dogmatism, resilience, and optimism you have impacted in our great party will continue to be there. And I can assure you that by the grace of God, you will be happy wherever you are. I wish you eternal rest in the bosom of the Lord. Bye-bye.
I feel so emotional being here today. I was one of the last people that saw Dr. Ifeanyi Uba before he left for the United Kingdom. In fact, he flew on my aircraft. I remember Ifeanyi coming to have breakfast with me that fateful morning before he left. And I still remember the discussions we had. Ifeanyi was one of those people, he never believed in never. Very dogmatic, very resilient, very positive, forward-looking young man. He never looked down on himself, but he was a man with a very big heart. And that was what drew us closer. I saw myself in Ifeanyi, he saw himself in me, and both of us formed a union to the extent that I refused to go and see the wife when the news of the death broke, because I didn't know how to face her. I'm so emotional that I didn't want to break down in her presence. Instead, I sent my wife. Ifeanyi, I don't think we have to Ifeanyi. And when we say Ifeanyi worked for the Anambra people, I beg to disagree. Ifeanyi worked for the entire humanity, not just Nigerians alone. Wherever he found himself, he touched lives. Even in the Congo, people he never met, people he never knew. I remember when I had an issue, Ifeanyi was there with me from morning till night. From morning till night. And I remember another situation. Ifeanyi is always caring. Ide, he calls me by the name Ide. Your business is so capital intensive. How do you cope? How do you sleep? Okay, do you know, I have this money now. I don't need it. Can you come and take it to help yourself? Ifeanyi did that to me. I said, Ifeanyi, no. We were flying together from Lagos on that morning, the last flight we had together. I said, no, Ifeanyi. I thought he was joking. When we landed, I had to go into the cockpit to, talk with my pilots and the cabin crew and others. When I got down the stairs, Ifeanyi was there waiting for me. That thing I told you, I mean it. Come, I have some money. I said, Ifeanyi, leave it. I'm regretting not collecting that money from Ifeanyi because he may have given it to someone who may not return it to the family. But that was the man we are talking about. So, Ifeanyi was full of love for humanity. He was not tribal. He didn't involve himself in all those divides that try to divide humanity and our country. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Mine is an appeal to the creator of the universe that God in heaven should look down lowly upon we, the women in the world, the women in Nigeria, and have pity on us, because as you see us seated here, if I should ask that the women who are without their husbands should rise up, there will be much more than those with their husbands. And so we're losing our husbands, young men, old men, and so on and so forth. Besides, there are no husbands. And so many are going. And I appeal to the heavenly host that they should hold on, put back that spear of death back into the shield, so that our men will live longer and we have our husbands by our side. We are living cold life. Lord, have mercy on our men. Allow them to live longer. Yes, I shall arise and return to my Father. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. To you, O God, I place all my trust. Yes, I shall arise and return to my Father. May the soul of Senator Oba and the souls of all the faithfully departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
Life is an inexplicable pattern of mystery, where no man knows when he was born and when he will die. And this notorious fact is deeply rooted in the fact that every man is created by God with his works, and the talent are the guides. For no man can grow above or beyond his destiny. For every man's destiny has a relationship with God. So let it be with Ifeanyi Oba. Let it be with the Nnewi-born politician. Let it be with our brother. Let it be with the great philanthropist, the great leader, the motivator. Let it be the lover of mankind and citizen of humanity. May his soul rest in peace. And to you, the Obas, madam, and your lovely children particularly, No one here can imagine the pains you are going through. Neither can anyone attest to what is going through your mind. A sense of loss, not necessarily in the demise of your husband, but in the remembrance of those wonderful moments you once shared. Only God can heal this wound and no one else. Again, let it be with Ifeanyi. I do know that this is one death too many for the Igbo nation. Few months ago, it was Ezife, Governor Ezife. It was Iwanyanwu. It was Ogbeneonu. And we thought that was dealing with the older generation. Here comes a young man, vibrant, still full of energy, with a promising future, joining the queue. Then I wonder, what is life after all? Why all these struggles and why all these pains and challenges ahead? I have not died before, and I don't intend to die soon. But let me say something, that I do know that the Ikemba Ojukus, the Kwemes, and these great leaders of note who have left us, since the spirit never dies, I'm sure, they're having meetings somewhere. And I can only imagine what kind of meeting is saying. And their meeting is to Ndibo. And Ndibo, hear me, what is the likely thing these leaders are discussing now, including the youngest of them all, the Ifeanyi. The question they're asking, Igbos, why do you play the politics of hate? Why do you hate one another? Ojukwu recalled his quarrels with Ekweme, and now they say it is vanity. Iwanyanwu recalled his quarrels with Enwerem, now they are in one place. And so, they are asking Igbos, may you embrace peace. Another thing that happened that is common with these great men is that before the death of Iwanyanwu made a plea to Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ezife went to Villa and begged Nigerian nation. Ifeanyi made a statement in the same line. I want to say to you, my brother, in whom I'm well pleased, Senate President, convey this one message on behalf of these Igbos who are seated, that the best way to honor this great young man is the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So that the Igbos can go home and reorganize their place. And I know you, Senator Akpabio, that even if you don't want to do it, send this message. For the sake of your wife, who is our daughter, send this message and get us a result. Or else, your wife is not too far from taking back home. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we are particularly happy that you are always coming to associate yourself with things like this. Nigeria still remains very grateful. Thank you, and God bless all of you. My people, my people.
Our Owele. Dear former President, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Thank you, thank you. Please be seated. I feel very sad, bitterly sad. But I'm here for Ifeanyi Uba's program to celebrate his death, but not something positive like the marriage of his children. Ifeanyi Uba, as everybody said, is a man of many parts. We know him too well in business and politics. He's somebody that, just like William Shakespeare said, that everybody comes to the world to play a role. Ifeanyi Uba played his role very well. but he left us when the ovation is still very, very loud, probably so that we will not forget him too quickly. We know him too much about business and politics, which people have said. In politics, I remember somebody, the person who played sang one Christian song, My Son, talks about the transformation ambassadors of Nigeria. Ifeanyi started that towards the 2015 elections. And he come to me several times to go and see what they were doing. You know, my slogan was Transformation Agenda. And he formed the Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria to promote my own vision. And when I visited the site, I saw 4 duplexes with all kinds of things for campaigns, photographs, pictures, posters, flyers, and everything, with a number of young people working every day, and I was surprised. The investment that he put in, it never consulted me. That is the man, Ifeanyi. I know later on, he moved with that NGO to even APC. I remember he supported the current president of Lagos also with that. Ifeanyi, he supported small businesses and market women. He contributed to health challenges. I remember even during the COVID, he set up some special centers and funded to help people. In sports, we talked about his football club. People have spoken about that. One thing, yes, it was also mentioned. He was not a journalist, but he founded the authority newspapers. So he put his hands there. It is difficult for me to know a politician that has trusted people with his personal resources the way Ifeanyi did. With his personal resources, not government resources. He has done well. He has left us. All what we can do is to pray that God should give the family the fortitude to bear these irreparable loss. God should provide for the family. Ifeanyi, my dear friend, rest in peace.
We are going to have our own day of tribute for distinguished Senator Ifeanyi, who passed on as a serving senator of the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we'll honor him tomorrow in the Senate. We expect his body to touch the Senate for the last time forever tomorrow. We'll all be there. But tonight, we have nothing but appreciation to all who have come to mourn with us. Ifeanyi had developed a relationship that we shall remain friends with his family forever. That was why I requested for that number, friends forever. So to Mrs. Ifeanyi and the children, our commitment to you is that we shall continue to do those things that friends do, extending love to you, seeing to the welfare of your children, watching over you, praying for you, and asking that God henceforth should take control. We are mourning Senator Ifeanyi. He was a colossus in the business world. Personally, I came across him in 2008 when he invited me as a governor to Apapa to visit his business complex. And I was amazed at what a young man could do at that time. Over 48 pumps with so many fuel tanks. He contributed a lot. Ifeanyi was very prepared to prove that political party did not matter to him. What mattered was the love of the people. Igbo love him. So whether he contested under any platform did not matter. Hence, he picked on YPP. And he won election twice to the Senate. And it's not an easy thing to win election as a senator. Even Senator Ngige can tell you that. So, when he joined us, our chairman, Ganduje, is mourning today. Please accept my sympathy, because you were about to prove a point in Anambra that even the obedient movement of 2023 did not affect Ifeanyi and did not affect Newe community. You've lost a lot. We're about to prove that point when Ifeanyi turned from YPP to join us in the APC family. We're very glad, and we still remain glad. We hope God will bring more of Ifeanyi to Ndigbo. That was not only positive, but imagine what he did in terms of bringing security. Security to the people. So we'll do our best to join you even on the day of interment. All the threats notwithstanding, the senators are determined to be in Newe to honor Senator Ifeanyi. And I'm saying that because even my dear wife, Ekaite Unama Gosul Akpavio, one of you, I don't take the threat lightly. Somebody said, if I don't, is it Rochas, my people, that said, if I don't take the message to the federal government to do one or two things, that it will come for my wife. I got scared. Because I know I'm standing here, all the strength I have is because of the prayers of my wife. I don't know. So I want to plead with Rochas. I will come to your house personally to inform you after I've delivered the message to the federal government. So please don't contemplate withdrawing your daughter from my house. I don't know what I would have done. But I thank all of you. On behalf of the 10th Senate, on behalf of the distinguished senators, Deputy Senate President, the leadership, and all